Pest infestation? Call Bugman, because when you see red, bugs are dead.
All right, welcome back. We got another one today. This is going to be, I've done a couple of these just to test to see how long they're going to be. Man, they've run about 20 minutes. I'm trying to keep it under that because I felt like I was talking over myself a little bit. But this one's going to be about like how lines are created and just gambling tips, just general gambling tips. People have asked for these over the years, asked my opinion, where I get information. I'll share that with you here. And I just wanted to talk about how lines are created these days because I don't know that everybody knows some of what I'm going to say. First of all, if you're gambling, never borrow money to gamble. I know some people go, people borrow money to gamble. They do it. Have the money to lose if you're going to gamble is what I'm saying. Don't borrow money. And never try to make up your bets. Like your lost bets. Never do that. Like, you just don't do that because you're going to be chasing your tail if you're doing that. Another thing, never pay for picks. Now, I know some of you out there are probably on a CBS Sports line or somewhere that they pay $3 or whatever. Don't do it. Never pay for picks. You're wasting money. I mean, you're just wasting money. They don't know. I mean, they know a little bit more in general than you know. Because you didn't take the time to break down and investigate stuff. But that's all you're paying for is them breaking down stuff. Excuse me. It's still a 50-50 chance it can go either way. So don't pay anybody for picks. There's people out here with making livings, websites. I'm not going to call anybody out because maybe one day they want me to come on there and sell my picks. But because people buy them all the time. I would never buy them. But anyway, how lines are made. How do we make lines in today's world? Well, it used to be that, you had pretty much all the lines came from Vegas. Now, that's not so much the case. I mean, I personally still follow the Vegas lines when I'm doing things. But I also keep an eye on all the other lines, too, because you need to have all, MGM, BetMGM, and DraftKings and all. You need to have that. Just to be able to look at different lines. Because just because one team or one site has a line doesn't mean the other site has that same line. Excuse me. So that's something to keep in mind. You want to look at that. But it used to be that, all the lines came through Vegas. Not so much now. But they're still pretty much all made the same way. And how is that? Well, what happens is they have it's not an easy it's a complex process. Let's put it that way. There's a lot of analysis. There's a lot of like insight from professionals that are out there. They let the market kind of tell how things are done, how bets are going. But let me just give you an example. So Saturday night, the last college football game is played. Well, they're already working on those lines. Keep in mind, they're 3 hours behind the East Coast, right? So, like, our games are ending at 11. Well, it's only 8 over there. They're working through the night. They'll put that out overnight. They'll put that out for Sunday morning. But that does not come to you and me. They put those out to the sharps or the professional bettors. So, in other words, before you and I see the line, that line is bet and adjusted again after the pro bettors bet that line, right? So keep that in mind. So like I'm just going to use an example here. Michigan could come out -3 in a game. They send it to the bettors, the professional bettors in that 10 or 12 hour window before the public gets it. And they might have to adjust it back down to 0. So then you and I see it at 0. Well, a couple of things could happen. One, Vegas could be off on their line, and the pros adjusted it for them. Another thing is, and Vegas knows this, But those guys, the professional bettors, could also move that line to their advantage. So they could say, hey, we really like Michigan, and they bump that from 3 to 4 to 5, right? And then they come back on the backside when everybody looks like they're hitting Michigan and hit the other team and have a bet on both sides. Excuse me. That's how lines are made these days. Before you, me, and the public gets to see it, it's bet by professionals. And it's always been that way, so I don't want to act like that's something new. But I don't know that a lot of people know that. So I wanted to share that it's not, when we're seeing it, it's already been adjusted. They gave a line, it was bet on, and then it was adjusted again. So keep that in mind. I would also say if you're betting, bet the same amount when you're betting, because these line creations are made they're going to adjust, right? So, if you're betting each week, if you're betting $50, $50, and you lose, and then you go, well, shit, I lost. I want to bet $10, $10. Don't do that, because if you lost 150 and now you're betting 30, it's going to take you a long time to get to that 150. So try to keep your bets the same when you're betting. They're banking on you to do that. What's the worst bet you can make? The bet that everybody plays, parlays. Stay away from them. Now, I do it too. So, this is me talking out of both sides of my mouth. But I don't do it a lot. In fact, if I do a parlay, a lot of the times I'll tease the parlay. If you don't know what a teaser is, that's basically buying points. So your odds go down, but you have a better chance of win. Like yesterday, we bet. We had 5 games, and we bet over-unders in all of them and the lines in all of them. Went 9-1. Okay, that's not going to happen all the time. Let's keep that in mind now. Winning percentages. This is kind of where I wanted to go. If you're betting and you're winning, you've got to bet and win 52.4% of the time. So 52.5% of the time. You got to bet and win to break even because of the juice that you're paying for these sites and you pay in Vegas. And so I don't know if people realize that. Okay? I mean, professional gamblers, the pros, the sharps, they're winning 55 to 60% of the time. So that's not, the margin's thin. I don't think that people realize that. So as soon as you give margin back in doing parlays, then you now got to win 65% of the time because you're losing these parlays, right? So keep that in mind. To be profitable, you got to almost 53% of the time just to break even. 55 to 60% of the time means you're doing really good. I mean, if you have a 5 to 8% ROI, return on investment over time, then that's about as high as you're going to get in long term. Is 5 to 8%. So, if you bet $500 over a year, you're only going to get 5% of that. If you make up 5% of that over time, that is a good long-term winning average. So keep that in mind. A lot of people will always bet on the favorite. That's what Vegas wants you to do, right? Because now that betting on the favorite, now you got to win 65% of the time if you're always betting on the favorite. If you're betting on underdogs, that can come in at 50% winning percentage, and you would still be winning. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind those types of things when you're betting. I mean, don't. Again, I stress this: don't bet more than you have. Don't buy picks. Do a little research. and I think you'll be a little bit better. So, what do I look at? I've had this question asked a million times for the last 20 years. What do I look at when I'm looking at a game? How do I break down a game? Well, obviously you look at injuries. Obviously you look at weather. You look at the line move. I look at the line move. So if that line, think about this, what we just talked about. If the line opens at 5 and it's bet up or down 2 or 3 points, think about what the original line was. The original line was something else before the pros put it at 5. Now it's moved 2 or 3 based on the public. That right there might give you an idea that maybe the sharps or the pros were doing a little finagling in order to come back on the backside. Not always, but that's something to keep in mind. What do I look at? What sites do I look at? I've always had people ask. I look at a lot. Like I'll look at individual beat writers for a team. You'll learn a whole lot more doing that than you will from ESPN or something like that. So if you're on Twitter and you're following people, try to find the people that are covering the South Carolina Gamecocks or the Virginia Tech Hokies practices. You'll learn a lot from them. You'll learn, oh, he didn't look too good. He had his, the boot was off his foot, but it didn't look too good. You won't hear that from ESPN. You're definitely not going to hear that from anybody that's in the gambling side of things. So do your research. Go look at that. I always tell people, look at where the percentages are on bets. I am a huge contrarian bettor in terms of going against the general public. What does that mean? Like this weekend, we had four over-unders, and 3 of them were plus 72% to one side. So we went the opposite. We were 3-1. 3-1 going against 75% of the public. When everybody thinks they know, that usually means they don't know. That usually means run to the other way. That's just my opinion. I've had good success with it. I've had professional bettors in Vegas tell me that they do that. There's even podcasts out there from professional bettors that will tell you the same thing. So it's not like I'm making that up. Another thing to keep in mind is travel, right? You want to look at the travel. How far are they traveling? Have they traveled a lot? Are they going east to west? Or are they going west to east? Or are they going to Dublin like we just had this past weekend? Those are things to keep an eye on. In the NFL, there's the 80-20 rule. It's more so in the NFL, but 80-20 rule where home dogs are only getting like 20-25% of the bet. I'd bet on the home dog. That means 80% are betting against the favorite. And so you're going against the public and you're going against just the odds, right? 80% of people are telling you that this team's going to win. Well, it happens. Don't get me wrong. It happens. More than like it doesn't happen. That's why there's a big city in the middle of a desert in Las Vegas. It's because more often than not, it doesn't. So don't be afraid to take points. I see that. I would say I see that. That's the one flaw I think I see in like regular people betting is they don't take the points. They always are betting the favorite. And that's what Vegas wants you to do. Keep in mind, a line is made to get equal betting on both sides. So they want to get betting, they want to get as much money on the plus side and as much money on the negative side. Because even if they say they took 10,000 bets, 5 of them were a plus and 5 of them were negative. Well, the ones that were negative that they lost, well, Vegas won. I shouldn't say they lost. That the public lost, they get all that juice. So they made money. off those 5,000 bets, even though it was equal. So keep that in mind. When you're going through looking at these lines, do some research. That's the best thing I can tell you. Look how, if the guy's coming off of an injury, look how he's looked back at practice. Things like that. I mean, you just need to pay attention. A lot of people, they just look at what happened last week and they go, oh, man, South Carolina killed that thing. They're going to destroy this team this week because this team lost last week by 15 points. Have a short memory on last week. Focus on this week. That's why you always get these upsets during the year, and you get some of these bad bets sometimes. It's because people bet on it. They'll go, oh my gosh, South Carolina beat a top 10 team by 30 points, and this team lost to a nobody by 10. Well, that means you're going to have 70% on South Carolina, so I'm going the opposite team. Keep in mind, these kids, travel, go to class still. So there's a lot to keep in mind there. So, I don't know. I would just tell you to break it down, do more research. Feel free to reach out and ask questions on YouTube or on the Facebook page. I'll share anything that I know. And if I don't know, I could probably ask some people in the know. And so I just did this for people to give them an idea how lines are made and for the general public in terms of sports gambling altogether. So I just wanted to drop that real quick. It's almost 17 minutes in, but I think it's important to just to share that with everybody and let them know. Thanks. Heathens Kettle Corn and Mobile Grill. You can find them at Dr. Pepper Park, local Roanoke events, and also now doing fundraising with teams, organizations, churches, etc. Find them on Facebook, Heathens Kettle Corn and Mobile Grill.